Welcome again to this fantastic podcast about gamification and events.
Amazing, awesome podcast. Yeah.
Wonderful podcast.
No,
Oh my
we've
God.
seen.
Yes, exactly. And actually, yeah, we dare you to show us another one. Or really, we wanna we wanna see other people doing this because uh, the experience we had and the comments we had from the people at our event was where we have never seen this. This is the best event we've ever been to. So yeah, we really want to see if there's anybody else doing this because we want to connect, we want to learn, and we're excited. And today's episode is gonna be about one of the aspects that is also part of the mostly internal corporate events, which is team building, and how gamification can help the team building dynamics in these events and enhance them. And actually, before diving deep into what is team building, what is not team building? Because you were telling me something that was like, oh, you're right. So please, Amir.
Yeah. So when you come from the context of games,
Yes.
of course, the word team is an important word for us, right? It's, of course, in sports, you use the word a lot. You don't use it, for example, so much in role-playing games. You talk more about parties, for example.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not building a team, you have a party. But a party has more elements of team building than most of the things that you see in team building in the real world, because people usually confuse team building with group forming, right? So the idea behind forming a group is that groups can form naturally. It's an spontaneous activity. So if you have a lot of people around a room, groups will form. Groups will naturally form because humans are social by nature, right?
Yes.
So you will form groups, and those groups will behave again in a more organic way, right? And that's cool. That's cool. That's part of what makes us human, interactive beings again,
Yes.
right? So that's really important. But these groups are working. They're not working together. They're exploring together. Yeah, they're playful. It's more this kind of playful interaction where we're talking and we're laughing and it's cool. But that's not a team. A team requires some special elements that makes the group behave in a particular way. The first one is objectives, right?
Okay.
So there's no team without objectives. A team requires a common objective that they want to pursue together, right? If someone in the team is not pulling their part, you feel that absence. In a group, if someone is not participating in the group, it doesn't matter. But in the team, the team wants everyone to pull their part and give their best towards the final effort. And team building creates a sort of codependence, right?
Okay.
So imagine you're playing soccer. And it's not hard to imagine. You've played soccer a lot, right?
We played together
Yeah,
a couple years ago.
I was awful at it, but it was really fun. So, of course, if you're playing as a team, every element in the team, the way you try to configure your team, it's really important. Like, I want to have the best players in my team, or at least we want balanced teams. If everyone is not as good as a player, so let's keep the people that are not as good in both teams, so it will balance out, for example, right?
And actually finding the right role for the right person, because now that you mentioned our time playing soccer in high school, and we have this very good friend of ours that wasn't the most athletic one of them, and in one game we were playing this other classroom with a very good player, and all we said to him was, okay, your job is to stick to him. You cannot be more than 2 feet away from this guy. Don't let him do anything. And he was successful. He wasn't technically playing soccer. He was just being annoying, getting in the way of the other guy. But he had a purpose. And the objective of the team was to beat them, and we did.
Yeah, because you start building strategies, right? So in a group, when you form a group, there can be strategies. For example, think about high school projects. In high school projects, teachers tend to create groups, but not teams. That's usually what happens. So I want you to create a project, and you will make groups of 4, right? And the strategy tends to be, okay, let's split the work in 4 parts, and each one will do one part, and let's come together, bring it up. That's it, right? that's all the strategy that there is. There is a common goal, but there is actually no strategic value into whom is doing what, right? So when you think about building a movie and you have all these teams working around this common project, you have roles, and that was the second important part around it. When you have roles, it's easier to have teams, right? So when we started working, for example, in FSOP, one of the things we wanted was to make people form parties, right? The party is more, it's the adventurer analog of the team building on sports, right? It's, I need to have a group of people that we will work towards the same objective and beat a campaign, right?
And those objectives are not necessarily long-term. They're like, I saw flash parties forming in minutes and then dissolving, but the bonds were already created and then they were cooperating and it was natural. And I have actually, I don't know if I have time to put this anecdote that I had that we were just in a very slow moment. There was these breakup rooms for the official activities, but there were a couple of people sitting down on a sofa, and then one person shows up. This is a lady, like an executive or something, and she's like, "Hey, do you guys have stickers?" And they were, "Yeah, cool, of course." They start trading stickers, and all of a sudden, a couple of younger girls show up and they say, "We need a master of growth," and she just stands up. "I'm a master of growth. Let's do that mission." And they run away, and she just turns around and say, "Okay, look, if you need any of my stickers, I'll be back." Goes, and then she comes back alone. So that team formed and dissolved in 3 minutes, but they were actually building teams.
That's right, and that's really important. They were seeking for team members, right?
Yes.
They needed team members. They were not just forming groups. It was about, we need someone to help us to beat this common objective. And we created that in a non-organic way. It was a designed way, right? So the missions would have things like, to achieve this mission, you need 2 masters of growth, you need 1 valiant of heart, you need 2 keepers of magic, right? So there's, by using conditions, you start creating the behaviors around, okay, we need a master of growth. But then the way you would solve these missions was, it was a numbers game. We created a numbers game.
Yeah.
Because if you had more people in your party, it would become easier to tackle and to solve the problem, right?
Exactly, and that was a mechanic that took a while for them to discover. Like, and when I say a while, a couple tries. Like, okay, we need at least one of these, and then they realize, oh my God, yeah, if we bring more people, then we can have X amount of roles and all that, and then be more successful.
The odds increased.
And that's actually what happened. And then, of course, like in every game, they found a trick, a loophole, and started, okay, I have mission. Who has missions? Okay, let's go together, deliver 5 missions, so roll like crazy. And then they broke a little bit the system, but with the same objective, and they developed a new strategy that we didn't foresee it.
Yeah, emergent strategies, and that's really important, because you don't want to tell them, okay, team building is the way to beat the game. You want them to learn that by themselves, right? Yes. So it was about rolling dice, right? So this game was about having people, and the more people you had, the more dice you will roll, and the higher your chances of success, right?
Yeah.
That was the basic of the mechanic. It was not really hard, but they figured that after some tries, it said, okay, bring 3 people, and after seeing that 3 people were not enough to have high chances of success, they began building the teams, because they found out it was a better strategy, right? Yeah. So the team building element become incorporated through them understanding the best strategies possible to solve the problem. And from there, those were emergent strategies, things that we never thought of. We never thought that parties would come together to solve multiple missions at the same time. But at the end, that reinforced the idea that we wanted to create.
Exactly.
Even better.
and just to be fair, it was part of our realistic anticipation of, our expectations were, probably a couple of people were going to be engaged, and they were going to have to find and box somebody else. We were not prepared for so many people engaging at the same time and saying, we're going to do this. And again, we were talking about the group forming and how did it happen in school. We would probably be in the same group 99% of the time. But in these conventions and corporate events, it's like, okay, you're sitting in round tables or whatever. Okay, you're gonna talk to your buddy who's from your office. Hi, nice to meet you, and then you're gonna do an activity. It happens like unnaturally. But this was so spontaneous, and so everybody knew what they were doing, and then you reinforce the team building aspect of the event, but outside of the formal event. That's actually what I think is very valuable of this gamification thing.
Yeah. And there's last thing, you have objectives, you have roles. Those are the two main things. And then you have these collaborative goals, the things that those outcomes that would benefit us individually, but also collectively. And this is important because you can have a team and then give them prizes individually, and that's it. And it's not the same as feeling like you solved something together and that's great and we received stuff together, right? And that's really important into a team building experience. So imagine again, if you go to soccer and you see how the World Cup works, at the end, it's just one trophy for everyone. But that trophy is a collective reward, right? And they can give you medals to each one of you, but that collective element that gives you the sense of we made it, it's really important, right?
Yeah, I was in the stadium. My home team just won the championship a couple of weeks ago. I feel like what?
Yeah,
I was there. I felt it. Sure. And actually, now that you're mentioning that, it makes so much sense. So one of the mechanics we incorporated in the second day of the event, this was a 3-day event, but the second day we incorporated one of the group mechanics. So it was something that people at the beginning were trying to figure out. They were doing some missions in a selfish way, to call it some way, like you were competing for yourself. But then they bumped into this, and I remember that actually the idea to explain it came right in the spot. One of the slogans of the whole thing, it was like, we're working together for a better shared future. And we put this, and then they start rolling and the tokens and all that. And they say, what do I win by contributing to this group goal? And I was like, a better shared future. So actually, you are not winning for yourself. Now you're competing for the keepers of magic or the valiants of art. And then people took it super personal because it was actually meaningless for them individually. That was not gonna make them win or more likely to get the big prizes, because the phenomenal organization team of the event came up with some, I don't know how they got him, but like a LeBron James signed shirt and jersey and stuff. So people were going after those, but then they started like, okay, no, this is important for the team. And rolling, the outcome of the roll for the tokens had zero outcome or zero impact in their individual journey, but they were super disappointed when it was a low number, like, oh, I let my team down.
Yeah.
And then at 12, yes, I did it. You see, guys, I'm contributing to like totally random, lucky, arbitrary, like, but then it has a lot of meaning.
Yeah, that's true. And then when you have this structure, you can take it, you can level it up, right?
Okay.
So I think of what MMOs do, World of Warcraft and all these kinds of games, what they do. When they create team building mechanics, it's not about creating one kind of team. It's not just your party, right? So if you play World of Warcraft, you start like as an individual. You start playing by yourself. You have your character. Then you get to the open world, and when you get to the open world, you get this first quest that require 2 or 3 people to beat them. So these difficult mobs, and then the hogger. Yeah, the hogger. Oh, I know. Why do we remember the hogger? Storytelling. That's another chapter. Stop it. Right. And after that, you get your instances. So groups of 5, and then you have your raids, groups of 20. But you have also your guilds, right? So what happens is you have different kind of team building structures, all within the same game. And that's what we actually try to do here. So we have the orders, which are one kind of a structure, like faction structures. In World of Warcraft, you have factions, you have guilds, you have all these kinds of teams. And it's not about, and that's what you're saying, it's not about having one team. It's, I build a party, it dissolves. I build another party, it dissolves. And it creates a social dynamic that becomes really interesting.
And now that you mention it, at the beginning, like, and this is going to be covered in a different podcast, but the onboarding process and how they were being dipped into the waters, first a toe, first like that. At the beginning, we organized the booths and stuff, and we were asking them, what are you? And they were like, I'm a watcher. So they had already adopted the general identity of the game, because watchers were the names we gave to all of the attendants. So you were gonna be the watcher of the secrets of Coca-Cola and all that. But then, oh no, but also besides the watcher, you chose a class. Oh yeah, I'm a keeper of magic. Okay,
Yeah.
and then you segment those into different subgroups, and that's how it happens. So that's fantastic. And I don't know if you can point out any final like aspects of how gamification can enhance and improve team building mechanics or objectives in this kind of things.
Yeah. So when you have all these team structures, you want them to be able to live with all these small social groups. You start building bonds. There are close bonds and distant bonds, right?
Okay.
And you need to leverage all these kinds of bonds. It's not about one is better than the other. So this is something that's really weird. But for example, when you talk about orders, right? So as a keeper of magic, I don't need to know all the keepers of magic. I only need to know that I'm part of a group that's called the keepers of magic, right? So it's important to create this sense of I'm part of something where I don't need to know everyone, but you need all these other structures where you need to know the name of everyone, their skills, how to coordinate themselves, the close encounters. And it's better when you don't focus only in these small groups, because that's what people will try to do when they're trying to create team building mechanics is let's bring a group of 5 and let's make them work together. But you usually forget that identity comes from not only the people that are around you, but from the people that have your similar values, right?
Exactly.
I'm a keeper of magic because I know everyone in the keepers of magic choose the same as me, right? It's like the sorting hat of Harry Potter. I'm a Gryffindor because I have a set of values that makes me a Gryffindor.
That's super. People are super like hard about that.
So it's not random, right? It's team buildings are not built randomly. If you are alliance or you are horde, it's because you actually think you have elements that make you similar to those people that selected the same thing as you selected, and that creates bonds, and that's really important. Bonds with people you might never interact, or that only interact with you as mentors, right? So like guilds. In guilds, you enter a guild because you know there you will have a lot of people supporting you or inviting you, for example.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, just being invited.
Being invited is really important. So it's understanding the social mechanics and understanding how games create different kinds of teams to create different kinds of bonding, and all these bondings become important. And if you can have all these layers, it becomes even more powerful.
And in the long run, that's going to reinforce team building out of the game skills and make teams more efficient, and they make people more aware that to succeed in corporate world and in everything, they rely on others. And then taking on your own is not necessarily always the best way to go. Go find the right person to fit in your team and make it part of your group, and then you both win, and then take part ways or whatever. So we now know why gamification can be so important in this team building mechanics. They can develop the skills in the long run. So you go to an event, you have these experiences, play by all these rules and do all this, and then you take away to your office, to your home. Hey, you know what? To be successful, I won't take it on my own. I'm actually gonna find somebody who has the right skill I need to do what it takes, and then the outcome for both of us is gonna be better. So that's how you reinforce that.
And remember the 3 things: objectives first. It's really important. Objectives. The second would be roles, and the third, collective rewards. Those are the 3 things that you need to have in mind, to keep in mind when you're trying to build team building mechanics.
Okay, now you know it. So thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you in the next one. Thank you.